Here we are with another edition of Web Chat with the Mayor. Pat Sobeski is in today. And Pat, you were involved in that news conference Saturday here in the city after the Friday night verdict in the Michael Rafferty trial. And, you know, a couple more days has passed now. And what is the sense that you're getting here in the community about that verdict and about, that trial being over with?
Certainly there's a sense of relief. And I think that's putting it mild. Everyone was hoping for this verdict, and there was always nervousness when a jury has to make a decision, and certainly on the in the 24, 36 hours leading up to that verdict, there was issues about what the jury heard, what the jury didn't hear, and so was a nervousness there, but based on the evidence that the jury heard, the facts the jury heard, and that's what the jury has to make their decision on, they came up with the three guilty pleas. So certainly the community is relieved. And then when you talk to people, they just have said, boy, I would have hated to see the impact if it hadn't been certainly the guilty on the first count. It would have been extremely traumatic. So relieved, I think, is the best word.
And where do we go from here as a city, Pat? I mean, there's a candlelight vigil coming up on Saturday once again, but in terms of the healing and, maybe memorializing Tori Stafford, is there something that's going to happen, do you think, down the road?
Well, I think something will happen. We had, leading up to the trial and during the trial, did receive a number of emails, out-of-town emails, because local residents, they see myself, they see the counselors, so they're able to talk with them. But there's all sorts of suggestions that there should be recognition. And so council will have to deal with that and come up with a process to provide some recognition. So there's been all sorts of suggestions from, people have said an endowment, naming a park. I think, when we go back to Easter Sunday, that quiet tribute of the young ladies that went out and put balloons and flowers on the flower beds on Dundas Street, that had a real touching effect. It's the innocence of youth that we have to recognize and protect. So council will will have to come up with a process that involves the community in determining what's the best way to recognize.
And probably the family as well. I think that's a discussion that you almost have to have, right? Sit down with the family and see what they're in favor of.
Well, that's what I mean. The family's involved. There were so many people, and to try and have that discussion during the trial was a non-starter. Yeah. And so now we have to wait a little bit. Today there's, as you've mentioned, the sentencing and statements from family members. So there's still a little bit of time to let it absorb, and people can start to think about what's the appropriate way to have a tribute to a young lady that many of us, most of us, never met, but certainly left a lasting impression on everybody.
Oh, absolutely. And, this case has certainly left a scar in our community. How long do you think that is going to take to repair? Do you recall, an instance in the past in another community that you've lived in where something as traumatic has happened? And how long does it take?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I think if you... speaking with Police Chief Freeman last night, this might be one of the top 5 cases in Canadian history. So it certainly stands out as a political leader. I mean, talks about really 2 things. One, we certainly have to deal with a drug problem that all communities face. And the other thing, too, is to make sure that we have sufficient activities for young people. So that will be what council has to direct on. How we respond as a community, a lot of it will be just talking amongst ourselves, saying that it was an unfortunate situation. It's random. Not very random, certainly not typical of the community. And it just I think, emphasizes the need for everyone to be on guard at all times. You know, we have so many programs, checks. I mean, I go back, you know, 45 years. When I was a kid, we'd hop on our bike. I'd hop on my bike and drive up to...
And just take off.
Go up to Northdale School. Two guys would be the coaches. Well, today it's far different. You know, parents are driving the children. The coaches have to go through security.
Your police check, got the police check.
So, I mean, and so even though you put all those safeguards in place, it still happens. So people have to be vigilant, and if they see anything that's disturbing, they do have to report it. So I hope we're not walking around on eggshells for the next 20 years, but it's something that we have to keep in our mind.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's another segment of Web Chat with the mayor. And Pat, there's a meeting this Thursday, kind of a light agenda, nothing too striking anyways that the public should be concerned about.
No, there's a lot of administrative details on this agenda to take a look at a few of the procedures, but it would be of interest to those who really love the administration side of municipal politics.
And we'll tune things out there. Thanks, Pat.
Okay.